Hi, my name is Peterson, Toscano, and I'm in Columbus, Ohio this weekend visiting my friend Bob Painter. Bob Painter, like myself, is an ex-gay survivor. In fact, we met at Love in Action, the ex-gay residential program in Memphis, Tennessee. After he graduated, Bob went on to be a staff member at Love in Action, serving as one of their house managers. This weekend, I got to see Bob playing in the title role of Joseph in the play musical Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dream Coat. He has a great voice, and he did a really fine job, particularly because this is the first musical or play he's ever been in. I've always been deeply moved by the story of Joseph, both in the Bible and in the musical, and I almost always cry at the scene where, in the end, after treating him like crap, Joseph's brothers realize a lot of the harm that they've caused, and they bow down before him and are humble, and he forgives them. And it's this amazing scene of reconciliation and just truth. It's really powerful. But as Bob performed the play this weekend, there was another scene that struck me very deeply, more deeply than I ever noticed it before. It's a scene where after Joseph was attacked by his brothers, after they stripped off his beautiful rainbow-colored coat, they ripped it apart and defiled it with blood, then sold him off to be a slave in Egypt. And then after, as a slave in Egypt, he experienced a lot of problems and ended up in prison for a life sentence. He sings a song there behind the prison bars, and the lights are dim, and the scene's really intense. And he basically talks about how his life is over, and that sure, there might be some hope in some other world, but it's pretty much over now. Hearing those words, seeing Bob performing that just brought me back in time to when he was in Love in Action and when I was in Love in Action, and it felt very much like we were locked away, shut away from our family, shut away from the world. I mean, we weren't allowed to watch television, have any contact with people who were gay affirming, for sure, and even had limited contact to our family and friends, and that became increasingly harder. Bob tells me that after I left the program, they made it so that you couldn't even call a family member and only could see them during the family and friends weekend. An unbelievably shaming experience for everyone. And so, hearing those words, if my life were important, I would ask if I live or die. And that the whole sense of like being there and feeling like you're a worthless piece of shit, and that you're so bad, you're so evil, you're so sinful that you have to lock yourself away and get this intensive therapy to fix you so that you can be a viable member of society. And although there were kind and loving people in these programs, the ultimate message was that I was incredibly flawed because I have same-sex attractions. And seeing the musical reminded me of the feelings of despair and of hopelessness and desperation that we felt so isolated. And just, it was really rough, and it was rough seeing it. It was really rough seeing it again on stage. The most exciting part of my week, though, has been seeing Bob. I mean, after Love and Action, it looked like a light had gone out of his eyes, and he actually looked physically ill for the months afterwards and when I saw him. But when he picked me up on Wednesday, oh gosh, he looked great. I mean, just full of life and peace, and it's been like that all weekend. Just he's, quick to laugh, and I can see he's really settling into himself and recovering from his ex-gay harm. That is exciting. I definitely believe that ex-gay experiences for most people cause more harm than good, and that we can put ourselves into some very bad situations, but also we can pull ourselves out and we can recover and we can embrace our lives, break out of our prisons, break out of our closets, and come out as ourselves.
Red, yellow, and green, and brown, and gold.